It's Dynasty War Games. And we are not really party people in the house tonight. I'm drinking water, Chad. What are you drinking?
I am drinking Coke Zero.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're partying it up.
Right on. Yeah, a lot going on. Uh, I had a busy day and a busy day tomorrow, so I need to be sharp. Not really a party Friday night like it's been. So, anyway, we're here to talk Dynasty. We've got some trades going on. We're going to talk a blockbuster that we just saw, and we're trying to nail down some value. How you doing tonight, Chad?
I'm doing all right, other than the technical difficulties. We're trying to get this thing set up, and of course, my iPad Pro is not wanting to work with StreamYard, and StreamYard's not wanting to work with it. So here we are on the iPhone, but it's all right because we're here.
Right on. Yep, we're here, and we're going to talk Dynasty. We really don't have a game set up for tonight. It's kind of like we're in the dead zone. We weren't sure Mike was possibly going to join us tonight, but couldn't end up making it. So just kind of going to play it by ear, I guess.
Yeah.
Normally we play it by beer. Tonight we're going to play it by ear.
I like it.
Right on. Okay, so do you want to start us off with this DeAndre Hopkins trade?
Yeah. So this is in a league where I think I'm a pretty heavy contender in this league. Mike is as well. I think Mike's probably the favorite, but I'm probably second favorite in this league. And so I needed to get a little bit more depth. So I traded away Chris Godwin, Gerald Everett, McKitty, a third and a fourth for Hopkins and Juju.
Right. Okay. So there's a lot going on here, but the third, the fourth, and Trey McKitty that's sort of just like throw it.
Yeah, just throwing pieces.
Evening it out sort of stuff. Really, it's Juju and DeAndre Hopkins for Everett and Godwin. What do you think of Everett? I guess that's kind of he's sort of the lowest value player out of people that matter in this trade, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't really want to depend on him, putting up points week in, week out. I think he's, I don't know. He's Gerald Everett. He's always in the tight end 2 range.
Yeah, he's always been a low end tight end 2.
Yeah.
Best he's ever been was this past year where he was 22 in standard and PPR.
Yep.
He did that in 15 games. He's
played 16 it's not
games.
like
I'm sorry, go on.
It's not like he wasn't in good offenses as well, which is part of the reason why I've just been like,
right, exactly. He was with the Rams. It took him a little while to come around. He did start seeing targets his second year, right? But looks like he's 60, 62, 63 targets the last 3 years. He produces 41, 48. He's nothing special. I mean, it's almost throw-in level. So you got both of those 2 players for Godwin, right?
Yep.
Basically. Yeah, I like that. What do you think Nuke's got left?
I think he's got a couple of years, if I'm being honest. I think the suspension could possibly help him. If you really think about it, this long season is not going to be, very helpful for these guys in their 30s, and he's, getting into his 30s now, and he's going to get in there and play, 11 games and
right.
Yeah, I like it. He's going to play the most important games for me and this team. That's why I'm not really worried about making the playoffs with this team. This team is pretty much a lock to make the playoffs unless everybody gets decimated with injuries. But yeah, it's going to make the playoffs. That's not a question. The question is what it does in the playoffs, and I think DeAndre Hopkins is just one of those guys that when he's on the field, he's going to help you. So,
Gotcha. You might have a hard time getting Godwin to help you this year anyway. Right?
Yeah, coming back from the injuries. Yeah, he has question marks as well. That's the thing, is everybody in this trade has question marks. Like, there's not a guy that you look at and say, all right, this is a safe player. but I
Yeah.
think Godwin's name value is maybe a little bit safer than Juju and Hopkins. Hopkins with the age, he's past that,
Right.
or he's at that 30 benchmark, and then Juju has been Juju, so he's on a new team and the upside's higher, but yeah, it's still a wait and see game with him. So
I mean, are you looking to keep him and use him to win a championship, or do you think you want to try to flip him in season?
I haven't decided, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's one of those moves. I just saw, the guy that I traded with, Sean McCormick. He's in the DWG Patreon. This is not a Patreon league, but it's a it's a team where he's trying to rebuild, and I think Godwin's a guy. He at least in my head, what I would be thinking if I was him is Godwin's a guy that's going to hold value, just based off of his name. He's in there with Brady. So once he comes back from the ACL completely, he gets back up to speed, he's going to put up numbers, right? Or should put up numbers. And so his value is going to be there. Hopkins is a big if, because of the age factor, his value is just always going to steadily be decreasing from here on out. And then Juju is, I mean, let's just throw out there that he has an average season with the Chiefs. Like, where does he go from there? He's on a 1-year deal. His value is going to tank if this doesn't work out for him. So, and I mean, it had
Right.
already tanked before the signing to the Chiefs, but let's not forget this is a 1-year deal, and it's not a lock that he's going to be the guy in that offense. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I'm looking to probably flip my Juju shares this offseason, but I don't know. That's just because scares me a little bit. One of the reports I heard this offseason is that he's got one of his knees, quote unquote, needs maintenance every week.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me a little for a 25-year-old. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's kind of the reason he didn't get a long-term deal. Is that medically he didn't perfectly clear. So, yeah, I mean, I like this trade for both teams, to be honest. I would like to have seen Sean McCormick get a second instead of all the other stuff. Would you have done that? Godwin, Everett, in a second?
I don't know. I mean,
Rather than a third for what they're trading.
possibly. I think it's tough because Hopkins has a suspension. Juju's coming back from the injury, and he's still Juju. And, he's with the Chiefs, but he's, like you said, the injury issues, and then he's still on that 1-year contract. So it's tough to really pay up for these guys, too heavily. I think I probably would have done it thinking if it was my second, I probably would have done it because I think I have a real shot at winning this league, or at the very least
Right.
coming in second or third. So it should be a back end second. So yeah, I probably would have done it, but I don't have a second, so
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So I mean, overall fair trade. I like it. I like it for both sides, really.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So let's talk about another trade in this league that went down. Another blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Brees Hall for a 24 first, 3 seconds, and a third. Right, so it's 2 23 seconds, a 24 second, and a 24 third.
Yeah, that was an interesting one.
What do you think? Did he get enough?
I would have liked to see him get a little bit more, if I'm being honest. Just from what I've seen Brees go for in leagues, I would have liked to see him get a little bit more, or at least had that first in the 2023 class. Because
the fact that he didn't get a 23 first is,
yeah, that's the tough part for me to swallow. But yeah, I mean, let's look at this guy's roster. We're both in this league, so it's a pretty terrible roster, to be honest with you. The guy that he's getting these picks from.
Okay.
It's a very, very bad roster. All of his upper tier pieces are guys from this class. Basically, he has Brees Hall, he has Drake London, he has Sky Moore, but his quarterback is Desmond Ritter.
So he's rebuilding.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, those are going to be very early picks, so that helps. There's no way that this guy is gonna, have any kind of late first in 2020, even in 2024. It's going to be an early first. So I guess that does help. If you're looking at this team, he has no competitive pieces. He has no draft picks to speak of except for in 2025. I don't know where his pieces are. Oh gosh, I shouldn't be bashing the team.
Yeah, he's
I
traded a lot of veterans, and then he traded a lot of pieces for Brees. Um, I don't mind him giving up that for Brees though, because I think that once he takes over that job, he's gonna be worth more than that. He can probably get 2 firsts in the
No,
same
I
year.
wouldn't have done that. That's
No?
If I was him, I wouldn't have done that.
Mm.
You can't. I mean, looking at his roster, he can't give up that many picks. Like he has no choice because if Brees Hall busts, he has no valuable players on this roster. Like he has to have. I mean, legitimately, if Brees Hall sucks, if Drake London doesn't do well and Sky Moore doesn't come out the gate swinging, right? Like he has nothing of value on the entire roster and has
That
no draft picks.
that 2024 first that he gave up is not his, by the way. He gave up. It's a competitive team.
Oh God.
So the 24 first that he gave up is from another owner that has a competitive team, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I guess.
So
I
it's
mean,
not that great of a first.
he needs the hits. Like he needs to spread out his.
Mhm.
I guess we're getting
What do you
too
need?
far into the weeds here because this is getting very specific. But I
Yeah,
wouldn't
I
have
don't
done
mean
it
about. Yeah, you're getting too far into his team. What I'm saying is
in a
he
vacuum. Yeah, it's a good trade for him. But yeah,
he
I
seemed
mean,
to have
I think
he
it's
seems to have
terrible.
gotten Brees Hall for undervalue. I'm not sure, but it seems to be that if Brees Hall increases value, but he's got to not fall in love with him and be willing to flip him, for a profit.
Yeah, no, I still don't like it. I still don't like it. Thinking that's probably the kind of trades that he's been doing, and the reason why his roster's in the state that it's in.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay. I was trying to save you from bashing this guy, but you went right
I'm sorry. I mean,
there.
I've ruined teams too. We've all ruined teams. It's a bad. I mean, it is what it is. It's a bad team with no draft picks and no valuable pieces. I mean, it is what it is.
Huh. So I guess we won't be posting this link in the Einstein's chat.
Nope, nope, guess not. Sorry, P. Nolan. I'm sorry.
Oh, now you even said his name. God, it never ends with you, Chuck. All right. So, do you want to go? All right. What do you think? What's Oh, you know what? I've got a good one. I've got a good one that we can go over. That's kind of a blockbuster here. Let me find a league. I believe it's Marvel. Nope, not Marvel. Oh, you're not even in this league. This is an auction league.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, there's a league where I traded. Yeah, this is compelling podcasting. There's a league where I traded. I got CD Lamb plus for Pitts, and now I have to remember which one that is. Is it? All right, let's move on to another trade while I find that one.
All right,
Um,
let's.
do you have something lined up for us?
Yeah, I have one that was actually mentioned in the DWZ chat. Right before we came on air, actually, it
Oh, okay,
was
cool.
a guy named Colin Jones. I think that's how you say his name.
Oh
Forgive me
yeah,
if I
yeah. It's a
mispronounced
new.
it.
Yeah, it's a new member. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's Colin, but it might be Colin. But hey, welcome. And
Colin,
yeah, let's
yeah, it's
talk.
probably Colin, Kollan. It's a,
Right on.
a different spelling, cool spelling. But anyways, he
Yeah, new
traded
member to the Patreon.
Debo and Pickett for ETN, Olave, and Waddle.
Debo and Pickett.
Let's assume PPR, full point PPR. We don't know, but let's assume full point PPR and let's assume Superflex.
Yeah. Okay. So he got ATN, Olave, and Waddle. Nice.
Yep.
I mean, he's given up a quarterback and not getting one back, but that's all right. Um, Olave is obviously worth a late first right now without even stepping on the field, and
Mm-hmm.
Waddle's Waddle's worth, I don't know, 2 firsts, a high first, and a second, something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like Pickett and Olave probably have the same value right now. Would you agree? You got them in the same place in the draft.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I
Around
think
108, 109.
I think I'd rather have Pickett. I put a little bit more value on Pickett. I really like a lot. I mean, you know how much I love Olave, but
Yeah.
just the positional value, the offense that Pickett's in, I'd place a little bit more value on Pickett. But yeah, I mean, I think most people would find them pretty comparable.
Okay. So I remember what league that was. Okay, I got it now. So yeah, I think it's good to get strong young pieces for Debo right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. It's one of those interesting trades though. Like there's have you ever like stopped and really thought about a trade after you initially looked at it and your initial instinct was, man, like this guy really got some good pieces in this trade, which was my initial thought for Cullen, his side with getting Etienne, Olave, and Waddle. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, like this is one of those trades where you're like, yeah, this guy definitely won. But then at the end of the season, you could be like, shit, like he lost his trade, like very easily.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like it could flip and it very, very quickly. It's one of those kind of trades.
There's 2 rookies in the trade, so much of it depends on how they perform.
Yeah, well, and it's not just the rookies too, right? Like there's question marks with everybody. It's Debo with Trey Lance, right? Depending on how that works out. It's
Pickett. Are they going to stop using him as running back?
Yeah, yep. It's Pickett going into his first year, his rookie season. As a quarterback, you never know how that's going to turn out. Etienne coming back from the Lisfranc injury, right?
Right.
Olave and kind of an offense that's predominantly been stagnant without Drew Brees, even with Drew Brees, and now with Jameis in there, we're maybe gonna think we get a little bit more fantasy production with him in there, but that's if they let him actually throw the ball. And then Waddle has Tyreek Hill coming in, so there's question marks all around. You don't know how these players are going to pan out. You want to bet on the talent with Waddle, and what we saw last year from him. But you could say the same thing for Debo, and Debo did it at a much higher level. So you never know. I mean, if Debo finds his form again and continues to be wide receiver 3, and Pickett comes out and has a Mac Jones kind of season, I think it could flip the script very easily.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. All right, so if we want to try to nail down Waddle's value, I've got another one. I've got one right here. Actually, it's exactly what I just said. So this is a league I'm in. This one traded Waddle and a third for Kadarius Toney and Kenny Walker.
Okay, say that one more time.
Waddle and a 23 third for Kadarius Toney and Kenny Walker. Right, so that's basically a high first, 102.
Yeah.
And what's Kadarius Toney worth? A mid to late second right now?
I wouldn't say late. I would say mid, probably, for sure.
Right, so high first and mid second for Waddle and a third. It's basically what I just said.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which side would you take?
Oof, I don't know. That's pretty roster dependent for me. I probably lean Waddle. I really like Waddle a lot.
Yeah, I like Waddle a lot too.
So I lean that way, but it's all gonna depend on I think that Kenneth Walker, if he gets good run in that offense, oh man, he could be good. Yeah. He's just such a good runner. And the Seahawks, if they do one thing, they run the ball, and they're gonna need to run the ball, right? So, he could. If after this season you told me that Kenneth Walker was the best running back in the draft class, or like have the most value, right, out of the rookie running backs, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, absolutely, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has the best numbers at the end of this year, and is a clear lead back where maybe everybody else is in a committee.
Yep, yeah, that's how I feel as well. Yeah, I think I like Kenneth Walker. And I think just as a pure runner, like I said, I mean, he's pretty amazing. So it's going to depend on how much run he gets in that offense. If Penny becomes a thing again, if what's going on with Chris Carson?
What do you mean?
Is
Excuse
he?
me. Chris Carson. He's done. He just won't admit it.
Well, I mean, I know that. I mean, what's actually going on? Like, is he there still, or have they cut him yet? Or
They have not cut him. Pete Carroll, maybe 2 weeks ago, came out and said that it's really tough at the end of a player's career when they want to hang on but really can't. And basically, Sunshine Pete of all people basically said his
yeah,
career is over. So,
yeah,
and then Carson came out the next week and was like, "I'm not done. I'm not done." But
yeah.
he's
You weren't talking about me.
yeah, exactly.
That was another Chris.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a neck injury, and that's
Yeah.
teams don't play around with clearing guys to play in with a neck injury.
For
They
sure.
can cripple them. So, yeah, Chris Carson's done. I really highly doubt he'll ever take another snap.
Yeah. But yeah, Rashad Penny still has a shot. I mean, he looked really good. He looked good.
He
I
looked
don't know how
amazing.
long he can keep that up. Yeah,
Yeah,
but he
they
looks
put up
good.
he put up huge RB1 numbers, but I mean, it's Rashad Penny. He's not going to stay healthy.
Yep.
I mean, it's fool's gold to think that's going to happen. Obviously, it's not a given that Kenny Walker's going to end the year with the job, but I'd put my money on it. If I had to bet on one or the other, Brees Hall or Kenny Walker having a clear lead back job at the end of the year, I'd say it would be Kenny Walker.
Oh, I disagree with that. I disagree. I
Really?
think
You
it's
think
I think
Brees
it's a
Hall
coin.
has a coin flip? Okay.
I think it's a coin flip either way because as much as people want to believe that Michael Carter is going to carve out a role in that offense, I think I think that Brees Hall is a. I mean, Michael Carter's best attribute is pass catching, right? Can we agree on that?
Right. Yeah.
So Brees Hall is better than him at it. Like, So are you taking your high drafted running back off the field when he's supposed to be doing the thing he does best and putting in the running back you took in the fifth round who's good at it? I
Detroit did
just
it a lot last year.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
I mean, I'm not
I
saying
understand what
it's
you're saying,
yeah, I'm not
but
saying it's definitely not going to happen. I'm just saying
it
it goes
depends on
against.
it depends on the coaching philosophy. Do they want to ride one back, or do they want to try to save him? The
Well,
different. Tomlin wants to ride one back. What's Detroit's head coach again? I always forget his name. Dan Campbell.
yeah,
Dan
Dan Campbell.
Campbell wants to use three backs equally. You know,
Well, I
I,
mean, you also have to remember too that Swift is extremely injury prone. So,
mhm.
I mean, he's probably earned that reputation, to be taken off the field in certain instances because he can't even stay healthy for more than 2 quarters. I mean, 3 quarters of a season each season he's been in the league. So,
Which has been
you
two.
know, yeah, but I mean
I mean, wasn't
that's
Dalvin
two.
Cook the same? Isn't Dalvin Cook the same thing?
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things. Like if you want to protect your player, then you're going to take him off the field. They're gonna
Right.
gonna minimize his impact during the course of the season as much
If
as
you want to,
possible.
if you want to
But
protect your highly drafted franchise back, you know, maybe you let Michael Carter do some of the dirty work
yeah, but
since
Brees
he's a
Hall doesn't.
capable back.
I mean, I'm not like I've said. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
it goes against just the logic of it. Like you're not
Well,
gonna want to throw your
I'm
guy
just
out
trying to
there.
give you. I'm just trying to give you a different type of logic, which is coaching logic, and is not always like, our
Nah,
fan.
I don't know. I don't know. I
Coaches,
think
some coaches think differently. Is all I'm saying.
yeah, like I
All right.
said, I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm just saying it's one of those things. Like it's not like if you put Kenneth Walker in that situation, right? Like if the Jets have taken Kenneth Walker, who is a phenomenal runner, but maybe has some questions in the passing game, right? I would be a
Mm,
little bit more like, okay, like this might be good for Michael Carter. He might find a real J.D. McKissick kind of role in that offense and put up some decent, respectable flex numbers. But yeah, I think that's best case scenario for him with Brees Hall there.
yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on to another one. Another blockbuster. So Alvin Kamara, C.D. Lamb, and a first. 24 first
Okay.
for Jacobs, Kyle Pitts, and 2/3. 23 thirds, if that matters.
Mm.
Kamara and Lamb and a first for Jacobs and Pitts. Two
What's the
thirds.
premium?
Oh, you had to ask me that, didn't you? um, let's find out. I think it's 0.75, but
Okay.
I'm looking up the scoring as we speak. Receiving is 0.75.
Okay. Um, Man, that's tough. That's tough. Um, I guess the safe side is definitely the Lamb Kamara first side. But
Yeah.
there's also an argument for, you know, if Pitts turns out, what side do you want? And I kind of lean the Pitts side. If he turns into the player that everybody thinks he's going to be,
Hmm.
and a 0.75 premium, I think he's worth that.
Right.
Um, so yeah, but I'd probably go the Lamb side right now, like today.
Right on. Okay. I got the Lamb side. I'm actually not. I have a team that like has an outside chance that it could possibly compete if you squint your eyes and everything works out right. So I'm probably going to start trading off veterans in season. So
Nice.
I think I'm part of, and that was my thought when I made the trade. And part of that is I think I'll be able to, once the suspension is over for Kamara, I think I'll be able to get more for him than Jacobs.
Yeah, yeah. Jacob scares me. It's mostly Pitts's value, right? Like if Pitts just works out, then yeah, like I said, his value is going to be absolutely insane. Like it's going to be
Yeah.
impossible to get him.
Yeah.
It's already impossible to get him, right? I mean, look what this guy had to give up. And some might
Yeah.
not even do that.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So
I didn't ask for any of that. He sent me that offer and I just took it.
yeah,
Um, I, I feel like, to me, I feel like CD Lamb has worked his way back up to being like wide receiver 3 in Dynasty. What do you think about that?
yeah. Um, Probably not my wide receiver three, but yeah,
Who would you have
yeah.
above
I
him?
I don't off the top of my head, I can't. I just remember not having him. I think I had him like in the top five, but not one, two, or three. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
obviously,
just off the
everyone
top of
has
my head, I can't remember.
Chase and Jefferson are probably the two.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Hey,
Yeah,
what do you think about those two? Like, I've gotten to some interesting debates with people about who they have, and it's all perspective, right? Like, because they're so close.
yeah.
Um,
I think I would lean Chase just because he's got a longer term stable quarterback position, like
Makes sense.
and probably better quarterback. Like I like Cousins, but he's older and he's only got a certain amount of time left, where Burrow has forever.
Yeah, that's the argument that I've heard a bunch. I yeah
But
I
I mean, I would cry if I had Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase. You know?
yeah yeah I'm the same way, man. Like I'm not gonna argue with anybody about it.
Yeah,
Um,
I love them
it's one of
both, and
those things.
yeah, if you like one more than the other, that's awesome. If I had one and someone offered me, the other one plus a third, I'd probably take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or definitely, I would definitely take it for a second.
that's what it would probably take for me, like a late second, for me to give up Jefferson for Chase. And some people might find that crazy, but
Mm,
I put stock in wide receiver doing it opposite another high producing wide receiver with a quarterback that's just not as good. And then also Burrow's injury still scares the shit out of me. Uh, with his offensive line and everything, it still just scares the
mm.
shit out of me. So for those reasons, I just think Jefferson's so good. And Chase is obviously really good too. But I think what Jefferson's been able to do with so much less, in my opinion, is absolutely scary.
Hmm. I traded Chase for 3 firsts and a third.
3 firsts and a
So
third.
yeah, from Casper. One of the to Casper and Einstein's, as a matter of fact.
What's
Uh,
the history on the thirds? Are they like, how are they projecting in your mind?
it's it's just 1/3.
I mean the first. Sorry,
The
the third. Who
first.
cares about the third, right? Like, where's that third? Yeah, the
Well,
first I meant.
I can tell you exactly what they are. So, it's my first, which I didn't have because this is the orphan that I took over in Einstein's, where the guy had already traded away. Like he made a.
Okay,
You remember the team I took over? The guy made a bunch of bad trades and then ditched.
yeah, your team's pretty terrible in that league, right? So it's the
Yeah, I'm
orphan you took
complete.
over.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm in a full on rebuild.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So that's an early first.
Right. So that's probably 101. I think um, Snoop is also rebuilding, so it might be like
Yeah,
102 at
you
worst.
you guys are competing for 101. I remember you saying like that was a 101, and Snoop was like, "Oh yeah, you want to pick?" You guys have formed like a who can be the worst rivalry. I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, because I did have the one. He had the 101 this year, and I had 102. So he got Brees, I got Walker. We'll see how that turns out. Actually, I mean, I have a lot of good young players, but they're young players, and my team's going to suck.
Yeah. So
Um,
what about those other two first?
One is Austin's Sweet and Low Civic, so it's
Mm-hmm.
probably middle of the pack. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know, he's got Herbert and Jefferson and a bunch of good players and Burrow, so he's probably a
And it
playoff.
might
He's
be late.
definitely a playoff.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Yeah,
it. It might
he's
be
a.
late.
Now I look at it. Yeah, he's got CeeDee Lamb, Waddle.
Yep. Yep.
Little not great at running back, but he could probably piece it together. Yeah, so that's probably late, but considering that you and Casper have pretty powerhouse teams, I'll say it's probably 8 or 9. That's probably pick 8 or 9. So 101 or 102 and 108 or 9 or 10. And the 24 is Casper's.
Okay, so that's
So
gonna
that's
be
probably late.
probably
So
a super late. Yeah.
an early and 2 lates. And
Yeah.
yeah, and a third.
Am I crazy? Am I crazy in thinking that you should have gotten a little bit more?
No, I don't think you're crazy. I asked for a second instead of that third, but it's Mike and he's cheap. And he just kept
And he
we
has
went
like
back.
all the picks, right? So
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, he has all the picks and he's just misering them, hoarding
yeah,
them, and not wanting to give them away. We went
I
back and
don't
forth like
understand
5
this
times.
league. I joined this league last season, the beginning of last season, or before the season started, and
Uh,
the same time you did actually. We both joined last
yeah,
season.
you got your team before me, and you got a better team,
Yeah,
basically.
yep, pretty much. And I actually made a couple of huge trades though to make it this good.
Yeah,
Like
you
right
and
when
I
I
did.
got it. Oh yeah, I remember that was a huge trade. We should bring that up in our next trade episode and talk about it because that was just to see like how that worked out. Because there was a lot of pieces involved. But
I mean, we can do it tonight if you want.
yeah. Well, while we're talking about another trade, see if you can pull that one up. And so yeah, I got this team, and I remember like thinking, how is his team so good, and it has like 30 first round picks? Like it doesn't make any sense. And I'm looking around, and there's just a couple of teams that are just barren, and I'm like, oh gosh, okay, this makes sense. So I was like, I gotta sell out because Mike's gonna be winning this thing every single year.
All right,
Yeah,
so some context on that Jamar Chase trade. All right.
yeah.
So prior to that, Casper and I had made a trade involving Jamar Chase. So the way I got Chase was I traded him T. Higgins and Kyle Pitts for Hawk and Chase. What do you think about that one?
You traded him T
Higgins and
Higgins.
Pitts, yeah, for Hawk and Chase. He sent
Yeah,
it to me, and I was like, wow, that seems exactly equal. And I
I
had no
I
other
think
Chase shares,
I
so
think so too. I'd rather have the Pitts side though. I'd rather have Pitts
okay,
and Higgins.
yeah,
Um, I'd rather have that side, but I mean it's even. I think that's just up to when somebody asks you about a trade and you're like it's even. Like are
mm,
you asking me like if the value's even, or you asking me what side would I rather take? Because that's just my opinion. Like I'd rather have the Pitt side for me personally, but I'm
yeah,
sure 50% of the world rather have the other side. So
right, right. So I like that we're finding good trades anyway to bring up.
yeah, that's a
uh,
good one.
I listen to a lot of trade episodes on other platforms. Not going to mention any, but man, they always tend to bring up these like really lopsided trades. And what's the point? Lopsided trades happen, but you're not learning anything from it. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Uh,
So what do you think about this one? This one's pretty interesting.
okay,
So it's Kenny Pickett, an early 23 first, projected to be an early 23 first, and a mid to late 23 first for Herbert.
Pickett and how many firsts?
Two first.
I'll take Herbert. But
Yeah, me too. I got the Herbert side, but go ahead.
um, I'm sorry. You said it was going to be an early first and a mid first.
Yeah, and I mean I would say mid to late. I just the I mean it's more likely going to be late, but it could be mid. It's one of those kind of teams.
Yeah. Um, all right. So I think what I'm trying to say here is that it could be really good for the package side,
Hmm.
um, because it could end up being like Pickett and Bryce Young
Exactly.
and um, who's the other like and one of the running backs, Zach Evans or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it could end up being way better than Herbert. But as it stands right now, I'd rather have Herbert.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to win, I think it's a good price to pay for a player that's generally ungettable. I wouldn't sell Herbert for that, even though, like I said, it could end up being better. I just wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things like Herbert's going to hold value. Um Even in a rebuild, he's going to hold value, right?
Right.
The 23s, I mean if that 23 ends up being, really late, and you just get some, kind of back end first wide receiver, um and then, Bryce Young and Pickett, then you've got to hope Pickett succeeds. Like you just got to hope that
Right.
he does well. Because
Right.
if he struggles,
Sure.
early, or struggles during the course of the season, like I mean that's the wrap for that trade.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, even if he comes out like Justin Herbert, or in his first season, right? He's still not Justin Herbert yet, so his value's not gonna the value of that trade's still not gonna be there.
Yeah, I hear you.
Um,
My Trevor Lawrence shares hear you too. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I'm still waiting on him. A little nervous about it.
But I'll tell you what though, in a rebuild, right? Like if you're selling Herbert to be able to get, because I mean, one of those firsts is going to be a very early first, like very, very early. So to be able to get another quarterback or two quarterbacks and potentially another good player in the 23 class, that's not, I mean, I don't think it's a bad deal for him, for him either. So,
Yeah. I'd love it if it was like Mac Jones instead of Pickett.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? I just somebody that is already established a little, at
yeah,
least a little bit, or
I hear you.
to
Is,
you
is
know,
it just me though, or like, has Mac Jones's value kind of dropped since the season ended?
not from my perspective. Do you want to hear what I got for him?
Yeah, let me hear. Because I've been trying to shop him in a couple of leagues and I haven't been able to get anything.
Let's see. I made a trade with Neil.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Oh, I saw this trade. I saw it.
Oh, I'm in the wrong league. That's why. It's 11.
Yep. Yeah, I'm in that league. I'm in that league too. Yeah, that was a lot. Yeah. I think that's actually the reason I started shopping him. Was that trade.
So I got all right. So this is the format matters a lot here. Okay, so it's an auction league where I think I went over this with Brian last night actually on Dynasty Fever. It's an auction league where each third and fourth are worth the same amount, right? So
Yep.
301 and 412 are worth the same amount. There's
Well,
a
well,
four.
let's to make it easier
four
for the listeners. A third and a fourth is worth the 201.
200 is the 201.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so each third or fourth is worth 100. All right, so I sent Mac Jones for a 23 first, which should be early to mid, 2/3 and 2/4 in Alexander Madison. Right, so a first, you can say a mid first and two 201s, or a mid first and a high first.
Yeah.
You can categorize that 400 in auction dollars, the 2/3 and 2/4, a lot of ways. But
Yep.
that 400 will get you either a really good player or two good players.
Yep.
So, and Alexander Madison, then I think I can flip to Dalvin Cook's owner for a second in season once Dalvin goes down.
Yeah.
And if Dalvin doesn't go down, I can flip him for, maybe if the guy's not savvy enough to understand, I flip him for 2/4, and that's the same as a second.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's what Mac Jones is worth. A high first and a mid first. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I
I haven't
mean,
been
he's
able to
worth
get
what
that.
somebody will pay, but that's what I got.
Yeah. I haven't been able to get that. I've been trying. I
Mm.
haven't come close. So everybody wants to give up like a late first for him that I've talked to, i.e., they don't really want him. So it is what it
All right.
is.
Well,
But
I found our trade is actually pretty easy. So, do you want to go over this?
yeah, let's do it.
So we made this huge trade. It was May 9th, 2021. All right. You got Amari Cooper, Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, George Kittle.
Mhm.
4 powerhouses.
Yep.
I got 2 firsts and 2 seconds. It was your first and second this year, which were both late. I think I got it was like Christian Watson and Mechie.
Yeah.
Right. And then your first and second in 24. Kadarius Toney, T. Higgins, Damian Harris, Gesicki, Calvin Ridley, and Sony Michel.
Oh, Calvin Ridley killed that trade for you.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Really hurt.
Because during that time, Calvin Ridley's price was astronomical. Like he had, people were paying like top 10 or top like 6 or 7 prices for him.
Yeah, he was the best player in that trade on my side.
Yeah.
He was the best player I was getting back. And
yeah,
one
that
of the
sucks.
one of the big reasons I did it. You know what I mean? Knowing that the first and seconds would be late, and but I did very well. I flipped Damian Harris for a first, and I made those swaps with Higgins and Chase and whatnot, and I got a bunch of extra draft picks out of that. I got my draft pick back, which I'd never traded away to begin with. That was important to me because I know it's gonna be a high pick. And it just burns me up. I can't watch somebody else take my high pick when I'm in a full-on rebuild. You know what I mean? I can't do that. And then Gesicki I flipped for quite a bit. Actually, I think I ended up getting Amari Cooper back and flipping him because I know he's not on your team. But there's a lot of movement afterwards, and I did really well breaking down the pieces.
Nice.
But how do you feel on your end? Like Derrick Henry going down and Aaron Jones not being great at the end of the year kind of hurt.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt last year, right? But
Yeah.
This is in Einstein, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it hurt last year, but having the depth to still compete. I mean, I was in the finals, even with those injuries happening. So
Yeah. Well, Kittle really came on for you.
yeah, yep, for sure, for sure.
So what are your thoughts about this? Are you going to keep Derrick Henry and make another run with him, or are you going to try to
Oh,
trade
of course, man. Of course, I can't let Mike win again. Mike won this league, and
him?
I've got.
Nice.
I think I'm the one of the only teams. I think there's maybe one or two other guys that have an offhand shot, but I think I'm his
Austin's
biggest
Austin's
competition.
team Austin's team looked pretty good. I think he's got a shot.
Yeah, it's just really young, so it's one of those where
Yeah.
it's going to be tough for all of his young players to kick on and be super productive all season long.
True.
Whereas like Mike's team and my team, it's pretty much a lot of guys that are in their prime that are proven producers, and they're gonna win you leagues basically. Uh, so I think that kind of gives us the edge. Which is, I mean, why we were in the finals basically, because we have all those kind of. I mean, just like, our lineup is, chock full of those guys. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, it's pretty much. I'll just read off my lineup real quick. It's pretty much all of it. Like I don't think I can sell out at this point. Like I've got to make another go at it. It's Dak, Derrick Henry, Tyreek, George Kittle, Elliott, Aaron Jones, Juju, Josh Jacobs, Amari Cooper, Aaron Rodgers, um, Michael Gallup. You know, just a bunch
Yeah,
of
this
just a
is
bunch of
right.
guys that
This
are.
this is ride or die this year.
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins.
Hmm.
You know, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, swan song, right?
yep,
And then you try to break that down in the off season, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got to give it one last go and see if I can win this thing. After coming in second, and the good thing about it too is that coming in second pays your entry fee, you know, twice over. So if I can do that again, it
Yeah,
covers me for the start of my rebuild. So
right on. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at all leagues. If I have a shot at winning, I go all in for that win and just try to get one or two, and then yeah, exactly, it pays for your rebuild. And rebuilds are fun, if you ask me.
I love it. I love them.
I love
Sometimes they're too much fun, right? Like sometimes you want to
it.
start them earlier than you probably should because they're just so much fun. But
Yeah. All right, so I have another Mac Jones trade. If you want to try to nail down his value a little further.
let's do it.
So, all right, this is in a positionless league, right? So it's super flex, and then all I think it's 10 flex, right? This is the brilliant idea of Casper.
Hmm.
So it's another Mike Casper run league, um, and this involves Audis. So this should really tell you something. He's very this guy's stingy. To
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
perfectly honest, he is hard to trade with because he loves his players and hates yours. Basically, I
Yeah.
mean, great dude. I love being in leagues with him, but he's stingy. So Audis gave up Dak and 2/5,
Hmm.
and he got Mac Jones, Antonio Gibson, 2/4, Tyler Conklin, and 300 in Fab. So it's basically Dak for Mac Jones and Antonio Gibson,
Oh, I'm taking Dak every day of the week.
right? I
Yeah,
mean, but
that's pretty easy.
that's
That's a pretty easy
that
one for me.
that's 2 weeks ago that this happened. So this is not ancient history. This
Yeah.
is that's a lot. I mean, it's a lot for Mac Jones. You know what I mean? Like the valuation for Mac Jones is very, very high there.
Yeah.
Like Antonio
I
Gibson
guess I
could be
just got
just
to keep trying to find the right person.
what's that?
I said, I guess I got to just keep trying to find the right person then because I
Okay. So
haven't
so
found
you
the one.
have been shopping them, you just haven't been able to.
Yeah, no, I've been trying. I've been trying to shop them. I just haven't been able to sell them. So, um, oh,
Yeah,
here's
I
one
guess.
for you.
Okay.
Um, so 223 first. One
Mhm.
is going to be early. One is probably going to be mid, maybe late, but probably mid, more than likely. Um, for Higgins and two late seconds, 23 seconds.
Early first and
Early and mid to late first,
yeah.
or I mean, yeah, mid to late. Probably going to be mid. We'll just call it a mid because the guy's team is not very good. But anyways, he just has a couple of players that could probably
T
get in there.
Higgins in 2 late seconds. I think I'd take the firsts,
Yeah,
but
that's what.
it depends on my team though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. Go ahead.
T Higgins is a really good player. I hate to give him up, but with that early first, you have a chance of getting a better player, a really good chance of getting a premium player there, right?
Yeah, yeah. This was
What are your
by
thoughts?
far my worst team that I made this trade with. It
Uh,
is full on rebuild with this team. It is absolutely horrendous. Like it is a horrendous team. I'll just read off my roster to you so you know how bad it is. It's pretty much everybody in the 22 draft class and Russell Wilson. It's Russell Wilson, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson, Alec Pierce, Mechie, Komet, James Cook, Jahan Dotson, and Zach Wilson. That's my starting lineup. It's the 22
nice.
class and a couple of young vets and then Russell Wilson. Um, and then yeah, so I had Higgins and I was like, I don't need him on this roster. Like, if he for
Right.
for some reason gets hurt, or maybe Chase like has an even crazier year, and he sees even like a tick down in production or something. Like, I've got to get rid of him now. I can't have the risk on this roster. So
T
yeah.
Higgins' value will never go up, right? He's
I don't
probably at his
know.
peak value.
You think so?
Yeah, I kind of do because he's already seen as a borderline wide receiver one, and he's never going to be a top five, right?
Uh,
DTC has him at a 30.6.
30.6.
That's high. I
Yeah, I
mean,
mean, what's that like?
it's higher than Waddle.
You know,
3 points higher, 3.5 points higher than
it's like a
Waddle.
little bit. It's like a little bit more than a 23 first, I think, in their evaluation. Because
23
I think a
first is what?
23 first is
20.
like 24, I think, in their
Well,
calculator.
they
Isn't it?
have 23 mid first as at a 24. Yeah.
Yeah, 24. So you can
So
tell I
like
use a
Higgins,
calculator.
so that's first and a second.
Yeah, I don't. I think it could go up. I think there's room for it to go up. I mean, I can't be the only person. I thought I was lower on Higgins than most people. I wouldn't pay that for him now, right? Like I wouldn't pay an early to mid 23 first for and a second for Higgins and a mid second.
No, I wouldn't
Um,
either.
I wouldn't pay that for him, but I could see him worth, you know, a mid and late first in the future if everything goes right for him. Like I think he's a really good player in a really high functioning offense that's only going to get better. If they let Joe Burrow continue to throw the ball 55 times a game, I mean, he can see some real productions. I mean, we could have like a Mike Evans Godwin kind of situation where you have two players in their prime worth just a ton, you know.
Right.
Which I mean, probably even better situation than that because Mike Evans was a little bit older when Godwin came in, and these guys are pretty much the same age with Chase and Higgins. So, I mean, I think you could have definitely two wide receiver ones and a really really good offense for years to come.
Yeah.
Higgins just has to take that next step. I think, for me at least.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it does. He does kind of remind me a little bit of Mike Evans. He's not really the downfield threat, but he's still big and fast. Really good hands. Gets open on intermediate routes. I mean, I really like T Higgins a lot, but I would take the two first in that deal just because, like I said, especially next year's draft's looking really good, man. You get two premium players. You probably get two premium players for that.
Yeah, yeah. Or even if I don't really want to take anybody in that class, I mean, I can go for another quarterback and shop the other pick because everybody thinks so highly of the class. So it's one of those things.
True.
But
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Exactly. Next year's draft's probably going to be a lot different. Total opposite of this year, where everybody wants to trade up, and I'm gonna still want to trade down and get that extra value.
yeah, I feel like I
Especially
wish.
if the class is that deep. Why not get some extra value and still get a great player?
I agree, man. I wish I had a taxi in this league because I would throw all of these 22 class players on the taxi and just rock out and get that 101 for sure, but it doesn't, unfortunately. And I'm
Hmm.
not with the bench your starters. So yeah, hopefully get the
Right.
101, but maybe not. Who knows? I hope these players don't start off too hot,
Wait.
or maybe
So
I do, and then I sell them off. So
wait. So you're saying you think it's ethical to put your starting rookies on your taxi squad, but not to put them on your bench?
yeah, for
What's
sure.
the difference? What's the difference?
Because if you can put them on your taxi squad, then you can pick up players. Like if you're just
I
benching
see what you're
them
saying.
during weeks, like you can use those spots. Like I can put my
Sorry, I'm not sure what you
players.
want me to change.
Oh, you just activated my Siri.
Oh,
Did you hear that?
yeah, I was so confused. I was like, who entered the room? Uh,
You just activated my Siri. I don't know what the hell she was thinking.
shut up, Siri. But yeah, so you don't know if these guys are starting caliber players. Like, yeah, you can just stick them on your taxi squad. That's what the
Hmm.
taxi's for, right? And then bring in more players from the waiver wire and see if you can get something from those guys. I don't think that's
Okay.
unethical at all. I think if you're, week one and you think that Brees Hall is your best running back and you put him on your bench and you put in a guy who's not starting, right?
Yeah,
Then
that's
that I
lame.
think that's the wrong thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
So
that.
yeah,
At
but if
least
if
at
Brees
least at
Hall's
your
on your
best lineup.
taxi, if Brees Hall is on your taxi squad, then I mean you shouldn't be pressured to take him off. No, I mean
Hmm.
because you can strategically find ways to pick up other players and see if you can gain value anywhere else. As long as
All
you're
right.
actively managing your squad and you're using your taxi, that's what the taxi's for.
Hmm. Interesting. So, like, instead of having, you know, long shots, like I have a lot of like Kenny and Guangwu and I don't know, Colin Powell or Amir Smith Marset. Like, instead of having those guys on your taxi, you'll put them on your bench and put the better rookies on your taxi. Is that
Well, I mean,
ethical?
I don't really have any 22 class scrubs, but even if I did, I mean, it's your taxi. Do what you want with it. I mean, it's not. I think it's very different than having players at your disposal on your bench and not starting them because you want to lose.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
would
just
never do
I
that.
think that's different. But
Right, gotcha.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put because why put droppable players on your taxi? Like that doesn't make any sense either.
Mhm.
This just eating up taxi spots. Like I'd rather have the most bench spots possible. Keep the scrubs on your bench just in case you get in season and they don't make the practice squad and you can drop them and bring in new guys too.
Gotcha. On your rebuilds. Okay.
Yeah, on your rebuild. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean,
That
if
makes
you're
sense. I'm going to go through all my rebuilds and see what I can do there. Because I just
yeah,
had never thought of that before.
yeah, yeah. I always find it odd. Like I have been in a couple of leagues where people were like, oh, why did you, like they've not nobody's ever questioned me about it, but they've questioned other people and been like, why? Especially last year, I saw some people have Trevor Lawrence on their bench. Um, during week one, people were like, why is Trevor Lawrence on your bench? Or I'm not your bench, your taxi. Um, when he can help you, and it was on rebuilding rosters. I'm like, leave him alone. Like, let him rebuild his roster. Shit, he's not doing
Huh.
anything, breaking the rules. He's playing his roster, trying to gain pieces from the waiver wire and
Yeah.
trying to help his team out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I'm playing the waivers like probably harder in those leagues than other leagues. I
Exactly.
don't know.
Yeah, trying
Or
to
just
trying to
as
find
hard anyway.
players. Yeah,
Sure.
trying to find players you can flip for seconds and thirds during the season. Like, how many
Right.
players I've picked up from waiver wires and been able to. Cordell Patterson picked him up from
Yeah.
waivers, and
Cordarrelle Patterson. I brought this up last night with Brian. Cordarrelle Patterson, Dalton Schultz was a darling of
yeah,
mine. I got him in a bunch of leagues.
yep.
Um, Yeah, you just cycle through the guys. One of the best I've ever seen at that, by the way, is Snoop Jesus in the DWZ
Yeah,
Patreon.
yeah, he's very active on his rebuilds.
Yeah,
Very,
that
very active on
guy,
his rebuilds.
he churns players like crazy, and he'll make, like he'll churn fourth and fifth round picks, and just, if he hears a little bit of news about a guy, he's going and picking him up right away in 10
Yep.
leagues or whatever. So, that's how you win. Because if you just hit on one of those guys in a year, it adds value to your team.
Yeah. And it's that's the thing, like it doesn't even matter about really hitting, because even if a guy just looks like he has a little bit of value for 1 week and you get a third, like if you do that
Right.
5 or 6 times during the course of a season, that's a lot of value you've gained, in
I
1
think
year.
you gave me I think in one league you were a little stuck, and you gave me a third for Uzuma last year.
Yeah. Yep. That was
Okay,
one of
cool.
those. Yeah, and I look back on that and I'm like, oh, you idiot! Like, why are you doing that? But I needed him, right? And he looked
Right.
during that week like he was going to get the starting job in a good offense. He had the potential to go out there and produce a little bit, and I needed it. I needed some cheap option, and I
Yeah,
couldn't get
he
anything
had
else.
blown up. He had those couple blow up weeks, and yeah, you needed a cheap option to try to keep yourself in it. So it makes sense.
Yeah,
To only give up a
you
third
took
is
advantage.
not the end of the world.
Yeah, but you took advantage of it, and you got your third, and you do that a few times a year, and yeah, like I said, that's a lot of value. That's a lot of value.
That's how you end up with extra picks.
Yep,
So,
exactly.
we're right about an hour. We can cut it off soon if you want. But since you brought up Cordarrelle Patterson, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight, and you just reminded me. What's his value if you're a top contender? Like, what should you pay for him? So I'll give you a little context. I just offered. It wasn't much. I offered Jalen Guyton in a fourth, a 24 fourth.
No, that's not enough.
Yeah. So I got back. It's an IDP league. He wanted to give me Cordarrelle Patterson, Chuck Clark, who's a safety for the Ravens, and a fifth for Brian Robinson. And I just immediately rejected because I'm not interested in trading Brian Robinson for defensive player. I'm more interested in getting my defensive players off waivers.
Yeah.
Because it's not a deep IDP league.
Yeah.
So, but what? All right. So let's see. I thought about offering.
Cordell Patterson's tough because he's one of those players you don't quite want to give up a second for, but
Right.
Nobody's going to give him to you for a third. Maybe 2/3 is kind of the sweet spot. 23 thirds, maybe.
Tell me if any of these players have any value, and should I be trading them for him? Logan Thomas, Hayden Hurst, Denzel Mims, Deontay Harris, Rager, Sonny Michel.
No, I don't think you're getting. I don't think.
Like, could I pair one of those guys with a third?
Maybe Logan Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, but I mean, I wouldn't do that. Like if I had Patterson, I'm waiting until we get in season and hoping he remains in form and producing, and then a team's going to give you a second definitely for Cordell. If I mean, maybe even an early second if he's producing like he was last season, and somebody needs a running back / wide receiver because he has that designation in sleeper. I mean, that's you're gonna get something for him. So at that point, I'm like, all right, why? Like, what's the incentive of me trading Cordell now? So I mean, shoot your shot at it, but me personally, I wouldn't even entertain it.
All right, so let me ask you this. Well, he put him on the block. He's trying to trade him. So
yeah,
what on top of Cordarrelle Patterson would you need to get to trade Brian Robinson?
Um,
That's a weird question because Brian Robbins. Well, I got him in the late third, but it's an IDP league, so he's more like a late second value, right?
honestly,
So
you're probably not going to like this, but I think the question is more what on top of Brian Robinson do you need to give to get Cordell Patterson?
really,
Yeah. I
so
mean, it
you
could
think
change. It could change quickly. You know, it's one of those that could change quickly. And but Brian Robinson's value is not very high. People are not giving up seconds for Brian Robinson.
so Cordarrelle, Chuck Clark, and a fifth you would have taken for Brian Robinson?
I don't know. Like it's that. God, that's a tough one. It's a tough one because I like Brian Robinson as a player,
I do too.
and I don't like Antonio Gibson, and I know Antonio Gibson has the injury history, and
Same.
he has good draft capital, so his value could really increase. Like if I
McKissick's
want to get
not gonna
Cordell,
be a between the tackles back, you know?
no, he's not. He's not. He's just going to be that PPR monster, which is fine for Brian
Right,
Robinson. It's the same. It's the
right.
same thing we were talking earlier with the Kenneth Walker, with the Jets. Like if he had went to the Jets, Michael Carter would be a McKissick, right? In my eyes, like
Mm,
that's what I would say. What I would think. Okay, is the logical thing to happen. Um, I think Brian Robinson, if he was able to get hold of this offense, let's say that Gibson goes down, or he starts, uh, you know, gets that turf toe injury again or whatever he had, right? And Brian
mm,
Robinson steps in. That's a perfect partnership. Is McKissick and Brian Robinson,
exactly.
you know? So
Yeah.
Brian
So
Robinson's definitely going to get touches in that offense, but
why would I trade him now?
But
I just
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I think and I think that can be said for both players. Like he shouldn't be wanting to give up Cordell Patterson now, and you definitely shouldn't be wanting to give up Brian Robinson now, in my opinion. So I think you're
right.
both kind of like in lockstep there with the same uh kind of ideas going on with each individual player. I just don't think it's a trade. Like it's just not a trade. So
Okay.
maybe you guys need to find new players because
What
I
about
wouldn't do
Nico
that.
Collins? Would you take Nico Collins for Cordarrelle Patterson?
I would rather have Cordell Patterson. I think a lot of people rather have Nico Collins. If I'm a contender, I'd rather have Cordell Patterson because I think
Yeah, I
there's
won this
a
league
lot of
last year. I'm trying to
potential.
repeat.
Yeah. You want to hear something crazy?
Hmm.
I got a Nico Collins for third in one of these in that league that I just told you about, that one where my team is like all 22 class players.
That's
Let
pretty
me
damn
see if I
good.
can find it. Because I think people were making roster cuts, and I looked at this guy's team, and the commish was like, "Hey, you need to cut your team. You need to cut your team. You need to cut your team." And he reminded him like a fourth time, and I could tell like the guy really didn't want to cut his players because they were still like valuable players. And
Mm.
so yeah, I just sent over. I'm like, "Look, man, you're gonna have to cut Nico Collins anyways. I'll give you a third for him." And he was like, "All right," and we got the deal
Nice,
done. Yeah,
nice.
but
Well, the way I
um,
got him was I gave up Landry in a third.
okay, yeah. Yeah,
You
I
know,
like that. I like that. I think I think Landry is kind of a sleeper player this year.
sure,
If you're looking
sure.
for production.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely. He's a cheap guy you can pick up. For you could probably get him for a third.
Oh yeah.
Um,
But yeah, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be wanting to. I wouldn't be wanting. That's a terrible. Anyways, I wouldn't want to give up Brian Robinson for McKissick.
no, we're on it. All right. So, what about Nico Collins for? Do you, do you think I should offer Nico Collins for Patterson?
Yes.
Like I said, I'm trying to repeat.
Yeah, I would. I would. Because the other thing I'd be afraid of too, um, is somebody else getting Cordell Patterson for cheap in season that you're
Right.
directly competing against, because that's one of those pieces that could really, really, really hurt you. in a championship season for your team. Uh,
Right.
yeah, I'd definitely give up Nico Collins for him. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I like it. Yeah, I would for sure.
Should I try to get something on top of it?
No, I don't think you can. I mean, I
40.
would try it for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're having conversations with this guy, right? Like
Yeah,
there's
it's
some guys you
McGruber.
send. Okay, yeah. So there's some guys you send trades to, and you're like, all right, I don't want to send too many trades to this guy because he seems like he's taking a million years to respond. He's not very active. He's probably not gonna. He's probably just gonna let it sit there. And so sometimes you just say, all right, this is what I really want, and this is what I'm willing to give up for it. I'll send it out there. But if you're having conversations with this guy and you guys are gelling and working things out, then yeah, throw out some stuff out there. Try to get McKissick for Nico, or McKissick plus for Nico.
Patterson, not
I mean,
McKissick.
yeah, Patterson. Shit, we're talking too much Redskins. I mean, football team. God damn it.
Commanders.
Commanders. Yeah.
I was wondering if you were going
Oh
to catch
man.
that or not.
They're changing this shit like every 3 months. I don't know, man. I'm an
Yeah,
NFC East fan, right? So like I'm a
yeah,
Giants
same.
fan. So it's tough for me to get away from Redskins. That's what I've done my entire life. But yeah, definitely needed to be changed. So I need to get used to it.
All right, I think I'm gonna. I mean, is it crazy to ask for a third? Patterson and a third for Nico Collins.
I think that's crazy, but go ahead.
It's crazy. All right, Patterson and a third
The
for
people
Nico
really like Nico
Collins.
Collins, though. Some people really like Nico Collins. So
That's what I'm saying.
I don't think it's you know what? I don't think it's crazy. I think there are some people that would do it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't do it. I don't like Nico Collins that much, but I know there are a lot of people that like really like Nico Collins.
I'm
Like
definitely gonna send
I
it
don't think
over.
Nico Collins is like close to being worth a second for me. I think he's a mid to late third kind of guy. Um, that's like what I'd be willing to give up to get him. I know most people think he's worth more than that, but that's the absolute most, which is why I went for that trade with that one dude. But
I mean, there's a really good chance that Cordarrelle Patterson doesn't last through the year, but
yeah,
really good chance that Nico Collins turns out to be nothing. Brian's not in chat anymore. He was in chat about an hour ago, or 45 minutes ago. If Brian Ford was in chat right now, he'd be freaking out. He
yeah,
loves
I
all
know
those
he.
Houston guys.
Yeah, I know he really likes Davis Mills and Nico Collins and all those guys.
Brevin
I don't
Jordan.
Brevin Jordan. Yeah, whatever. I
I
went
forgot
to
to
a
ask him. I don't remember how much he likes Damian Pierce, but anyway, go on.
that is a player that I like. I like Damian Pierce a lot. Mike and I went to a Houston Texans game and we weren't overly impressed with any of them.
Yeah,
they
I
they
remember you
were
saying that.
incredibly boring to watch. So I was like, man, this team has no dynamism at all.
No, they really don't. Excuse me.
But yeah, you got any other trades before we sign off here?
I think that's about it. I kind of wanted to nail down what Patterson was worth. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not giving up. I am not getting enough. I don't know. Anyway,
You feel like you're not getting enough, giving up Nico
I
Collins for Patterson?
I don't know because Patterson's a 1 year guy, right? He's done after this year, and he's
Yeah,
32.
but Nico Collins, I mean, who knows what he is, right? Like he could be absolutely nothing. He could be absolutely a waiver wire player for the rest of his life. Patterson, you at least have a inkling that he could be a very productive player this season and help you win a
Right.
championship. And that's worth a lot more than what Nico Collins is probably going to provide you for the rest of his career. So, I mean, Cordell Patterson was just RB9,
Yeah. I
RB
mean,
eight or something like that.
he
So
really fell off towards the end of the year, right?
It doesn't matter though. Like I
Yeah.
mean, he still gave you a lot. He gave you a
True.
lot for a guy that's you're giving up Nico Collins for. Like you're not expecting him to win you a championship, but he'll help you get there.
Right. Right. All right. Well, if he won't give me a third, then I'll make him give me a defensive player. Then maybe that Chuck Clark character, who I keep hearing that the Ravens are shopping him around. I don't know. Oh, did you
Yeah.
hear the big Eagles news before we sign off?
No, what was that?
We signed Jaquiski Tart.
Okay, let's go.
No, he's the safety that he dropped that interception in the NFC Championship game last year.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
All right.
I thought you guys did actually something good. I was like, oh man, it's gonna be no. Okay.
Well, he is a starting caliber safety, which we didn't really have. But,
Yay.
All right. Where can we find you on Twitter?
I don't remember my Twitter handle. I remember it last week. I don't remember it this week.
It's at DWZ_Chad.
Yes, that's it. That's it. What he said.
And I figured out Mike's. Mike is at DWZ Mike.
Nice. No underscore?
No underscore.
What is Mike doing? We're supposed to be twins.
You are supposed to be twins. What the hell? What the hell?
Yeah.
And
I don't have it.
I don't have a Twitter. I just run the show account. It's at DWZ_War Games.
I know.
Of course.
I keep telling you we're gonna help you with that, and then I keep not helping you with that.
You guys are welcome to sign in anytime. You have the info. You can post whatever you want.
I created the Twitter account and have never been on it since. So if that tells you anything, Jesse's lifting the load there. So
I don't do a lot with it. I do a little bit with it, but yeah.
Don't tell them that. Don't tell them that. It's worth a follow, right? There's amazing stuff going on that page.
I do a lot with it.
Man. He's like, yeah, don't worry, following it. There's nothing going on there. Oh man.
Oh my god. All right, man. This is a fun time. I think we got some things accomplished. We nailed down some value for a couple guys. Keep trying on Mac Jones, man. You'll get one.
Oh, I'll keep trying, man. Yeah, thanks for the inspiration.
Right on. All right, so next week, just a little housekeeping. I am on vacation. I'll be in Cancun. Chad has volunteered to keep the torch lit. He may bring on a guest or a co-host or both. I don't know. It's up to Chad. And you said you might change the time next week. Is that right?
I might change everything. You guys may come back and not recognize a thing. Not a thing. Yeah, it may be completely different. It may be a different show completely. Just a new premise, everything. Yeah.
Right on. We're gonna come back.
We'll see.
And it's gonna.
Can't believe you guys are leaving me to it.
It's gonna be about sewing. It's gonna be knitting.
It's gonna be about horses. Or yeah.
What's your buddy's name there that created Yellowstone?
My buddy. Yeah. No.
What's his name?
Not my buddy.
Is it Tyler? I can't remember.
Yeah.
He was on Sunday morning, the Sunday morning show on CBS last week.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I didn't know he started out. Did you know he started out as a model and an actor?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I know he's a pretty guy, so
yeah.
So it's believable.
Started out as a model, and he said that all the money he made just fed his horse habit, and one day he just sat down and started writing, and he writes a lot, actually. Pretty impressive guy.
Yeah, he grew up in Waco, real cowboy kind of guy. So
yeah, well, he just bought the 4.6s too.
Yep.
So anybody that knows horses knows what that means. That's not really me, but anyway. All right, I think that's it. I think we've run to the end. Stay tuned. So Chad will hopefully post on Twitter what he's going to do with the show next week beforehand, and in DWZ chat, and maybe you'll be able to find him and whatever the hell he thinks he's going to do next week.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. It's still all up in the air. I could definitely just not post a link, just do the podcast by myself, and then Yeah, we'll see.
Weird.
We'll see what happens. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on behind closed doors. We'll figure it out though.
Well, if you do it next Friday, I will be touring Chichen Itza, so wish me luck.
Oh, sounds brutal. Yeah, I'm gonna if you can't tell already, I'm just like building up the mystery, so hopefully everybody tunes in because I feel like a podcast with just me so far is not a big draw. So we'll see. We'll see. Trying to make this thing exciting. Who
No,
knows what's gonna
don't worry.
happen?
We do have people that are willing to come on. So
If I
it's
let
just
them, if I let them,
if
I
it's
hold all the
just whether
power. So we'll
Chad
see.
wants them or not.
Anyways,
All
this
right,
has been like the longest sign off ever. So let's get this done.
it is. We're out of here.
All right, man. Later.
Later. It's a lot of awkward silence at the end. It's perfect.